so good to have you back again. So I wanted to tell you about this fall. I went on a trip to Iowa. Yes, Iowa. I went there to see the places where my ancestors had lived. My mom grew up in Iowa, and ancestors is another word for like people in your family's past, your great grandmother or something like that. Well, my ancestors, I found out, because now there's websites and stuff and you can find out all this interesting stuff. My ancestors set aside a part of their land as a slough. Can you believe it? We have a slough in Iowa named after my family. Now a slough is like a marshland, right? Could I be more proud to have a marshland named after us? I mean, really. But how cool was that my ancestors cared about the environment and wanted to set aside land that was going to be saved for the birds and the wetland creatures. So that was kind of cool. So you guys have been studying about Ruth. Ruth is an ancestor or a way back great from the past in both the families of King David and Jesus. I wonder what Jesus would have thought when he found out about the life of Ruth. So the story of Ruth is amazing in the Bible. I mean, there aren't very many stories that are so full of good things and hope. It's the story of Naomi, who was a poor widow, Ruth, her foreign-born daughter-in-law, and Boaz, the older and upstanding guardian redeemer who comes and brings them stability and rescues them out of their poverty. So Ruth does a lot of amazing things. She is willing to stay with Naomi in a time of trouble. She says, where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Ruth also walks with her side by side through a time when she's depressed and sad, through grief. Ruth makes a difficult journey with her. They walk all the way back to Bethlehem. Ruth is strong enough to go and work in the fields and glean and gather food for them. So she is a guardian and a caretaker for Naomi. Now Boaz is also a guardian and a caretaker. He notices that Ruth is a foreigner, that she's new and that she might need help. He tells his people to don't harass her and leave some extra food for them. They may need it. In this way, he's rescuing them and helping them out. There are so many ways that the story of Ruth, Naomi, and Boaz shows us things about Jesus and the future story of God. Boaz and Naomi welcome Ruth into their family, even though she's a foreigner. They show us that families come in all shapes and sizes, and that God welcomes everyone into his family. He welcomes foreigners, and Ruth becomes family to them. The people in Ruth's journey acted on behalf of others when it was in their power to do so. It was inspiring, or should I say, inspired. It's not that nothing went wrong. There was tragedy and there were troubles. But God's hand is all over this. It reminds us that God works through trouble and through tragedy. God works through good people and through key moments to fulfill his promises. God doesn't appear in the book of Ruth. There aren't miracles or visions, but God's hand and his style are all over it, showing us that when we act with respect and love for those around us, that God's redeeming work can be done through us. No one had superpowers. No one was a king. Nobody was a hotshot with a slingshot. All the people in the book of Ruth are regular people just like us. So, What about you? How could you be an important figure in God's story? Could you lift somebody's spirit? Could you lift somebody's day? Could you act on behalf of someone when it's in your power to do it? Could you become an ancestor that someone talks about someday? One of the way back greats. Think about it. Till next time.